At what age is it appropriate for a kid to get access to social media? My gut says never. Ideally, if you can keep your kids away from it as long as possible, that would be great. The studies have shown that there's a point at which using social media becomes not fun and actually really impacts mood and causes potentially depression. I try to avoid that as long as you can. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Bender. I'm a psychiatrist board certified in child and adolescent psychiatry, adult psychiatry, and forensic psychiatry. I wanted to make a series of videos because I've been asked a lot about child rearing, just parenting, child milestones, development, and I figured I'd give some people a chance to ask some questions and I'll try to answer as best I can. Just a quick disclaimer, I don't know the individuals involved here. I can't give specific guidance, but I'll give some general overall information as to how you might approach situations that can be pretty tough for parents. Let's take a look at the first question. This is a parent of a 2-year-old. Why is the answer always no? Why does my child have a preference for one parent, mom over dad? First off, at age 2, it's very appropriate for a child to say no. Children of this age are learning that they don't have a lot of control in their lives, so they're trying to exert the control that they can, and that's by saying no. Now that's really annoying for parents, of course, but it's also reassuring to realize, all right, my child's supposed to do this to some degree. But what do you do about it? What I'd suggest is parents give options to a child. Things like, do you want to brush your teeth now or in 2 minutes? Kids at this age don't really have a sense of the world around them, so they don't know what that means. They don't know that 2 minutes is 2 minutes. So 2 is a little bit young to give certain choices, but at least it makes them feel like they have some control. Do you want to have dad brush your teeth or do you want to have mom brush your teeth? Do you want to do this or do that? Do you want to wear this piece of clothing or that piece of clothing? Another option would be to say, you offer them food. If a child says, for instance, no, I'm not going to eat that, I want ice cream. You can tell them ice cream is not an option. You can have an apple or an orange. And then if they say no, ice cream, you can repeat yourself. And then you might start yelling and you can say, would you like a hug or a cuddle? And then they say no and start screaming. It's okay to let them cry for a few minutes. And if it lasts longer than a few minutes, that's also okay, as long as they're not throwing things and hurting themselves. Then you need to really address the safety. But you can give them that option, and then after a little bit, they'll probably come around. If you are in the same room, kind of with your eyes not on the child, but maybe you're doing something else, that also might let them know you're still there, but you're kind of ignoring the tantrum a little bit too, if it turns into a tantrum. Again, though, it's appropriate for them to say no. In terms of parent preference, there are a number of things to be aware of. First of all, mom, are you the one who's with the child most of the day for most days? If that's the case, the child's probably really comfortable with you, and that's why they want to be with you. Or in the opposite case, I know that's not what we're talking about now, but in the opposite case, let's say the child prefers dad. Is dad a novelty? Is dad someone the child doesn't see a lot? So then in that case, the child actually might really want to be with the parent they don't see that much because that seems like fun and exciting times. But in this case, is it also possible when the child sees dad, what happens? Is dad the disciplinarian? Is dad the bad cop? Is mom the good cop? So it's natural for a child to prefer the good cop or the fun person versus the disciplinarian. It might be really helpful for the mom and dad to be a united front. Say, this is our family. This is how we spend time together. The child might think the dad takes time away from the child and the mom. Might really think that, oh, wait a minute, this guy's here and then I don't get to spend time with mom. You can start to teach the idea that there's enough love to go around. There's enough time for everybody. And this is how we spend time with family. The temperament of the child is another thing to consider. Is the temperament, meaning kind of how they feel about life and how they go through the world. Yes, they're very young and they're still developing that, but is that better matched with mom in the child's eye than dad? It's also really important to realize this is a phase. Maybe the phase lasts a long time, but the preference for one parent does not equal love. It doesn't mean the child doesn't love one parent. It doesn't mean that the child loves one more than another. The other thing is, as a parent, I would suggest you might say, it's okay that you don't want to be with me. That's okay. I'm still here. You let the child know you're not going anywhere. And similarly, if the child says, I hate you, you could say, that's okay, you can hate me. Just let them know you are still there. They're not going to push you away. That might really actually develop a stronger bond with you and that child. I often recommend to families special time. So what that means is make sure the mom has a special time with the daughter or the son, whichever child it is. Or if you have multiple, make sure you have special time with each of them. Maybe Friday mornings, that's a time when you have half an hour and you go for a walk together. Saturday mornings, you go and you share something to eat, or you pick up coffee or something like that. Same thing for dad. Dad should have some special time. And if the child doesn't want to go, that's okay. You can give some options. Tomorrow, we're going to do this. We can go to this place or this place. Give them a little bit of choice. Make them feel a part of it. Also, I really like to recommend to families reviewing the day and reviewing the next day. So you woke up this morning, what did you do? So go through, let them process their day, and then say, okay, tomorrow, what are we going to do? We're going to wake up in the morning. Dad's going to take you to school. And the child might say, I don't want dad to take you to school. You say, dad's going to take you to school, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then mom will do this. So just let them know this isn't a competition, and this isn't something that is going to change just because the child doesn't want to spend time with you. This is your family. So make sure you are united in talking to them about how you move through life as a family. I also think it's important for the parents to be able to talk to each other. If the dad is really upset about this, the dad can say, hey, this is really hard. Not that the mom has to fix it, but just for there to be open communication about this. I think that kind of emotional sharing can always bring families closer together. Another question here, at what age is it appropriate for a kid to get access to social media? Since they're going to get access to it at some point practically. My gut says never. Ideally, if you can keep your kids away from it as long as possible, that would be great. The studies have shown that there's a point at which using social media becomes not fun and actually really impacts mood and causes potentially depression. I try to avoid that as long as you can. Now, you're right, inevitably, they'll eventually get access to something. I think it's important for families to have rules, and it's okay for families to say when kids are starting out using phones, which ideally you would wait till maybe 8th grade to do, or 9th grade if you're gonna do a smartphone. You can have rules that you should review with your kids. When can they use the phone? Do they need to be in the same room with you? Do you have full access to their phone? Or do you wanna say, I'll trust you until you give me a reason not to? I think it really depends on what the family's comfortable with. Often families are comfortable with saying, we get full access to your texts and to what's going on, just so you know. And saying to the child, that's at first. Over time, we'll give you more and more privacy as you learn how to be on the phone responsibly. Just like anything, you don't give full free access to everything as soon as a kid wants it. They get things over time. So I think having a good conversation about the rules, and then also talking about what social media is. What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? What are the things you're concerned about as parents? Kids might say, you're just lecturing me, and kind of drown you out. But I think it's important for you to say, we're having this conversation because we take this seriously. I think that's important for a kid to know. There is a point at which teenagers often communicate by social media around events and what's going on in their lives. So that can be something that does draw kids into social media. Having that conversation about what does this mean, or saying, find another way to text your friends, or let's not do this on the app. I think if you talk to the other parents of the kids too, and find out what is their policy, you might have a better understanding of how this works. And you could potentially work together on something that works for your kids. It's been great to talk about these topics. They're all great questions. If you have a question, feel free to put it down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Feel free to add some comments, click subscribe, and hopefully I'll answer some questions for you in the future.